Greetings all. Just going to do one last presentation to wrap up the course. This will be pretty quick. I'm just going to do a really quick summary, and this is called Choosing Wisely. So, again, just a wrap up of what we talked about this semester, kind of going back to this idea of the holistic circle, using proper diet, regular physical activity, stress management techniques, and of course, ensuring that we have a healthy environment. And doing these things, we can prevent most health issues that folks are dealing with these days. So again, as far as nutrition is concerned, mostly a plant-based diet. 90% plant-based diet is recommended. I just posted a new file for this course module from Kaiser Permanente, in which they describe the plant-based diet very nicely. Combine that with some of the herbs and spices that we talked about, especially things like flax, amla, the Indian gooseberry, but really anything that you're growing in the garden is fine. Turmeric, of course, is another good one. Eat food that came from the ground instead of a food that came out of a factory. And it's pretty easy to tell if food came from the ground or food came from a factory. All right, so as much as possible, eat whole plant foods, unprocessed plant foods. And if you do choose to eat animal products, just make sure that those animals were fed a healthy diet, that they weren't pumped full of drugs, and they lived in healthy conditions. If you're going to eat meat, my suggestion is that you go out and hunt or eat, or if you know somebody that hunts, eat wild game meat. That's probably the optimal choice. Physical activity. I know I talked before about 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That is the general recommendation. It's 150 minutes a week. Honestly, if you look at the research, though, they suggest it's actually probably better off to bump that up. In fact, it's a tripling of the recommendation. And the problem is we can't even get people to do 150 minutes a week. So 70% of the population is not meeting that basic goal of 150 minutes a week. So, but ideally, bump that up. Try and get 90 minutes a day. A combination of aerobic or cardiovascular exercise, anaerobic or strength training, some type of flexibility, stretching or yoga. And then balance exercises are great as well, especially for elderly people. Doing things like Tai Chi are great, or dancing or whatever else they're into. Get enough exercise, but don't overdo it to the point that you're weakening your immune system and causing yourself damage. And again, intrinsic motivation. The best type of exercise is the one that you really enjoy. Whatever's going to motivate you to get out there and do it. And remember the nano workouts. You can get a pretty good workout just sitting at your desk. Stress management, control negative thoughts as much as possible. Try and replace those with more positive ways of thinking. Think about all the different videos that we watched and the techniques we discussed, including CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. If you really need some help with that area, I would highly suggest that you talk to a therapist. It might have been considered taboo maybe at some point to, admit that you actually needed help, but it can be extremely, extremely helpful. And this isn't for people that are sick necessarily, but just are trying to get a handle on distress in their life. And of course, religious and spiritual activities have a well-known benefit to both physical and psychological health, without question. So if you have that motivation, I would encourage you to pursue it. And of course, we want a healthy environment. We don't want to expose ourselves to things unnecessarily. Try and keep a stress as much as possible, a stress-free environment. If you're working in a very stressful environment, just take steps to protect yourself. Make sure you have adequate social support systems in place, again, as much as you can. For children, really struggling in a school environment that is not optimal for their learning needs could be a potential health issue. So, be empathetic for kids as you're becoming parents, and consider your own situation. Maybe you had some difficulties, like a lot of us did, in the educational system, and that may have caused some distress and maybe even some negative thinking as a result of that. So hopefully you can understand and respect that the education system is not perfect, and some people struggle as a result of that. So this is what I like to tell people: $5 a day and a good pair of shoes. That's really what you need. $5 a day is what it costs to eat an optimal plant-based diet. especially if you're willing to go to a farmer's market. But you can get everything that you need at the supermarket for $5 a day. Just think basics, And as far as exercise is concerned, joining a gym is great. Getting a personal trainer is great. But really, what you just need to do is get a good pair of shoes and go out and walk. I say 30 minutes a day, but really it's probably closer to 90 minutes a day. But whatever, 30 minutes a day, that should be your target. And just walk around the block. That's all you need to do. Okay. So, um, you know, we talk about this idea of alternative medicine or holistic medicine. And, the question is, this is kind of the punchline at the end of the course. This is not alternative medicine. There is no such thing as alternative medicine. People have been using these techniques for thousands of years. Physicians have been guiding their patients to use these techniques to prevent and reverse disease in every culture since the beginning of time. So this is not alternative. This really is the new age medicine. And there are obviously great advantages to using this medicine on occasion. But most of the health issues that we face in the United States are preventable health conditions based on lifestyle choices. And going back to this idea of just eating a healthy diet, making sure that you're getting your enough herbs and nutrients in there, and making sure that you're exercising enough every day, you're managing your stress, you have good social support systems in place. That is what is going to help you live a long, healthy, disability-free life, just like they did in the blue zones, because these techniques are not used in the blue zones. The problem is, of course, some of those folks living in the blue zones, when they do get sick or they get in an emergency situation, oftentimes they don't have emergency medical systems in place like we do. So we have the advantage of both worlds, but we don't want to rely on this to treat symptoms of disease that we could have avoided if we just followed this one. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the class. And feel free to keep in touch over the semester. Of course, we have a couple weeks left, but and I'm looking forward to to reviewing everybody's presentations, of course. But this is going to be a short course module this week, and I hope everybody enjoyed the course, and take the time to catch up and any late assignments that you have. Okay, take care, everybody.